connected. Right, so let's see. Is there anything with the Mentimeter coming through there, Thabo? See, we're going to just do a little check-in and see how everybody's feeling today. So if we could ask that you be brave and let us know how you're feeling. Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling fabulous? Are you maybe feeling a little bit grim or bad today? Maybe not having the best Wednesday as yet. So log on to Mentimeter and let us know how you are. All right, anything coming through there? Are we seeing how people are?
Not come through yet. Just reminder, go to www.menti.co.za. Just open another window on your web browser and just join us and vote. So the code is 5532090.
Okay, 5533920. Okay, I'm going to give it a try. Let's see. And I will tell you all how I'm feeling today.
Yes, I see on the chat function, there's two people saying they're great to be alive.
That's lovely. Okay. And Thabo, would you mind just saying that code for me again? I think I wrote it down wrong. I got the 55.
It's 5532090.
32090. Thank you. Oh, there we go. I see you sharing the screen, and some people are feeling good. I'm going to log mine in. 3 people feeling good. There we go. I just shared that I'm feeling fabulous this morning. Seeing a little bit of sun outside, so that's making me feel very, very good and very hopeful. And okay, for now that are feeling good. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. Oh, and another person has joined me and is feeling fabulous today. Lovely. At least so far, nobody feeling grim or feeling bad, so I'm glad to hear that. All right, well, thank you for that. We will use the Mentimeter a little later as well, so try to keep that open with you, and as the slides come up, you'll be able to vote on some of the other things and engage in some of the questions that I'm going to pose to you today. All right, so without any further ado, let's move on and just share with you what we're going to cover this morning. Firstly, we're going to look a little bit at what is self-love and why it's actually important. Some tips, always important, just that you have some tips and tools and tricks that you can maybe take to help you work further on this. We'll look a little bit at what is self-care, what are the different types of self-care, and then, of course, some quick ways that one can practice self-care. And as usual, if you've attended any of my sessions before, I like to share some helpful resources with you at the end, because I always keep front of mind the fact that, well, 2020 certainly was a very difficult year for many. I think some have carried that over into 2021 as well and aren't feeling, quite as positive and light and hopeful as you would like to feel at the beginning of a year. And as much as I know that the COVID numbers are going down, we still found ourselves living in a new reality, in a new world where things are different, and There's masks and sanitizers and social distancing and all that as an important part of our lives now. So I will make sure that I share some resources with you, just in case you need a little bit of extra support, or if you are aware of anybody else that needs some support. All right. And of course, at the end, there'll also just be some chance for engagement. If you'd like to ask any questions or share any comments, you're very welcome to do that as we get, well, during the session, but certainly at the end as well. All right. So looking at the topic, what is self-love and why is it important? Something, I want to really share with you this morning, because maybe self-love sounds a little bit wishy-washy to you. Really, what is this all about? It just sounds like something so pie in the sky. But really, it's an important aspect of ourselves and our self-worth, our mental health as well. And it really just means that we have a high regard for our own well-being and our happiness, so that we actually give ourselves some thought and some importance to who we are and what we are, and how other people treat us then as a result as well. So it means that we take care of our own needs and not just sacrificing our well-being for others and to please others all the time. And that's a difficult one. I certainly own the fact that I am a people pleaser. Maybe you have heard that term. So there are times I know that I have to work really hard on this and realize that in order to love myself and not to just sort of ignore my own needs, there are times that I cannot please everybody. And I'm not always willing to sacrifice my own needs, to satisfy other individuals. And that's a tough one. So we'll probably touch on that a little bit later. But self-love can mean different things for different people, because we are all different and we take care of ourselves in different ways. So, self-love to some people might come in the form of being quite boundaried. Making sure that other individuals always know where they stand, and knowing what their opinion is, and knowing how they feel about things, because they feel that it's important to express themselves, and that's a way of loving themselves and protecting themselves. So self-love can mean different things. It's not just, you using positive thoughts to sort of pep yourself up a little bit. It's closely linked to self-care. So self-love might mean taking care of yourself by, making sure you get exercise. There are different ways of expressing self-love, and I certainly will share some of those ways with you. Maybe you'll identify with some of them as I share them. But self-love is not only important, it is necessary for positive emotional health and for various facets of our success. So the more positive we are, the more we engage and we look at how we can love ourselves, the more positive our mental and emotional health will be. And therefore, the more successful we are likely to be, especially in relationships. That's quite an important one. Once we love ourselves and we know what we want, and we know what love means and looks like to us, we're more likely to be successful in other relationships. And the more positive our mental health and our emotional health is, the more likely we are to be successful as well. Self-love means showing up for yourself even when you feel unlovable. And I think that's a difficult one for us. Whether we are male or female, we all have days where we really doubt ourselves, or we have moments where we feel, gosh, I'm an awful person. How did I do that? Or, why did I say that? And in some way we then feel quite unlovable. Or maybe somebody else makes us feel unlovable. Or we're in a very bad relationship where somebody makes us feel that we're not worth love. It means still believing in yourself and having enough love for yourself that you're still able to show up for yourself and love yourself despite, your, as they say, despite your flaws and your warts. And something I really want to express to you is that self-love is not selfish or vain. It doesn't mean you've got a big ego and that you're a very vain person. If you do love yourself and if you see your worth and your value, and it certainly isn't selfish to stand up for yourself and to show up for yourself and to believe in yourself. It is in fact very, very healthy. All right, so that's just some of the thoughts I really want to share around why it is so important. And this concept of self-love is something that we all constantly need to work on because it's not always so easy. All right, now I would like to hear from you. Why, other than what I've shared, why do you think self-love is important? Is there anyone out there who feels that this is something that really resonates for them, something that makes sense? And why do you think self-love is important? And then we'll look at the next question. Anyone want to type in the comment section, in the chat section, or anybody want to tell us anything? Let's look. I see you've also given the opportunity for Mentimeter that you can add a comment. So if you go onto Mentimeter, if you'd like to add some thoughts there, you're welcome to. All right, so anybody like to? I see that we can add.
Yeah. I see Zimasa. Damse has got her hand up. I believe she likes something.
Thank you. Hi. Sorry, I didn't quite catch your name.
Is it possible to unmute her?
Is it me that needs to unmute?
Yes, she can unmute herself now.
Oh, she can.
Zimasa, please unmute yourself.
Thanks, Hamu.
Zimasa, you can talk. You can talk and talk.
Okay, maybe struggling with the unmute.
Oh yeah, right. She's a bit struggling. Okay, Zimasa, you can just type your comment on the comment section. Okay, Carol, you can carry on.
No problem. All right, then I'm going to pose another question here, and perhaps there's some. Which generation is it that's so so equipped with social media these days? I'm guilty of that. I think I'm not a millennial, but I certainly use a lot of social media. What role does social media play in our self-love? Quite a deep question. Perhaps some of you have read something on that, but I would like to hear if there's anyone out there who has a comment. What does social media do to our self-love? You're welcome to just put it in the comment in the chat section. You know, we're bombarded with social media these days. I know we spend a large portion of our day very often on social media, whether it be something like Facebook. I know that's probably the most popular one. There certainly is things like Instagram that I know many people like to use. There's Twitter. Not to give away my age, but I probably don't even know some of the other newer social media platforms that have come out that people engage in. I hear things around Telegram and Signal and things like that, but I haven't ventured that far. But what role does social media play in our self-love? I personally believe that it's quite a big one. There's even been some research done around what it does to us when we post something on a social media platform. Let's say, for example, you post a selfie, or a picture of you and your partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, or even your child or your pet or something like that, that we get a bit of a natural high from seeing the number of likes that we get from a post or from a picture or something that we share on a social media platform. And I love talking about addiction, and there certainly is a lot there around addiction as well. But yeah, the need that we have for self-love and self-affirmation often comes through in social media, and in that way sort of reaching out, to other people to get some sort of sense of, oh, I am liked, I am loved, because gosh, look how many people have engaged in my post, look how many likes that I have. And I don't know if any of you are guilty, but you'll post something on social media and every few minutes you log in to go see how many likes you have. You look for those notifications to see how many people have commented or said something like, gosh, you look lovely today, or wow, really love your new haircut, or your styling today, or just whatever the comment might be. And every time we read that, or we see a new comment, or we see those likes going up, that it actually boosts our self-esteem, and in that way also makes us feel that we're more worthy and improves our self-love. And we have a problem with that. I mean, social media is a whole nother topic we could really go into. But when I was reading a little bit more on the topic of self-love, social media came up so often, and it really opened, my eyes and my thoughts to that. And what does social media mean to us and the way that we see each other, or see ourselves? And then also what for me is concerning is I think of a teenager, for example, who posts something, maybe it is a picture of themselves, and where they then get bullied, on social media, or people say comments that aren't quite as warm and as positive as that person was needing. What does that do for their self-love? Or what if not enough people like the comment or like the picture? What does that mean for that young person and for the way they view themselves and the way they love themselves? And maybe, we can't solve that, but I just wanted to give you that thought. Maybe you could just go think about that if you are a person that uses social media. How does it impact on you and the way you see yourself and the way you love yourself and that you see your self-worth? And certainly if it's having a negative effect on you, how can you sort of change the way you perceive social media and the way that it affects you? Is it maybe good to take a social media break as well if it really is playing an impact on your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth? All right. So I found this little quote and I wanted to share it with you today. Self-love, self-respect, self-worth. There's a reason they all start with self. You can't find them in anyone else. All right, so until we love ourselves, until we're able to respect ourselves, and until we see our own self-worth, that we can't really see it and truly love somebody else. It all starts with us, with ourselves, and we can't get it from somebody else. It's also, I suppose, a basic sort of comment there is, you have to love yourself before you can really love somebody else. And I wonder how many of you, have maybe had failed relationships in your life, just where it didn't really work out the way you needed it to or wanted it to. And when you look back, you realize you weren't even in the right place for that relationship. You didn't love yourself enough yet. And that then impacted on that relationship that you had with someone else. So it has to start with us. You have to love yourself first before you can properly love somebody else. All right, so just want to give you that sort of thought as well. So how do I practice self-love? Like I say to you, it sounds like quite a wishy-washy term. Again, I say to you, it's not about being vain. It's not about being selfish. But these are some of the tips that I found that I think are really helpful, and I wanted to share them with you today. Firstly, is focus on being someone who loves. Have you ever heard that saying, or have you ever heard somebody say to you, I'm a lover, not a fighter? That's what comes to mind when I read this particular tip. Practice being somebody, focus on being somebody who loves. Look for the positive in other people and look for something to love in them. Because the more you open yourself to seeing those positives and to seeing what you can love about others, the more likely you are to start seeing it in yourself and to be able to find things about yourself to love as well. So tap into what it looks like and feels like to be loved. A good question to ask yourself is, how do I know when somebody else loves me? And I'm not just talking about a romantic relationship here. I'm talking about looking at your family and friends that you know really love you and see you for who you are, respect you, treat you well. They make you feel loved. What is it that they do that makes you feel that way? What is it that you see from them that makes you feel loved? And then it's quite easy to look at doing that to others. So practice that with others. I have a brother that I'm very, very close to, a younger brother, and he has the most incredible ability to make me feel loved and to make me feel respected and to really see my self-worth, especially on days when I can't. And the little things that he does is just, remembering to message me and to say, hey sis, hope you have a good day today. Or, hey sis, I know you've got that really big meeting today. Hope it goes well. Don't worry, you've got this, little positive affirmation. And when I read that from him, I feel so loved. I feel my brother really sees me. And that's something that I can do to others to help them feel loved as well. Remembering little things, sending messages to wish them a good day, for example. There are different ways of showing love. It could be saying things, it could be, little gestures, it could be doing little tasks for them. Find out what it is that means love to you and how can you give that to others as well. Number 3, stop comparing yourself to others. That's one way to just really feel defeated, is where you constantly compare yourself to others and think to yourself, gosh, why don't I have that car yet? Or why don't I have a car yet? Or how come I don't have a career or such a great job? How come they got that? We're each writing our own book and we each in our own chapter in our book. We can't compare our chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 8. Maybe they got an earlier start or a luckier start, or things were just different for them in their lives. But we can't compare our story and our journey to where they are, because then we're just going to feel defeated and feel like we're getting nowhere and then not love ourselves as much as we should. And take baby steps to create the life that you want. You can't achieve everything at once. If you want to get that qualification that you really want, to get that job and that career that you want one day, you got to start somewhere. And that could be doing, a course to start with. It might be, the shorter course that leads up to something bigger along the way. Start taking those baby steps to get to what you want. We can't all win the lotto and have the perfect life within a day. It doesn't work like that for us. And ask your support system for help when you need it. So many people think, I am so alone and there's nobody else there for me. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. But have they done anything just to reach out and to say to somebody in their circle, in their support system, and say to them, I really need a little bit of help. Could we maybe chat later? Could we meet up? Could you maybe, assist me with something? We need to step up and ask for help when we need it. And then we'll see other people see that we are worth it as well. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good. I think that's so important. We become the people, that we hang around with. And if you're constantly around negative people who are perhaps at times quite, negative and nasty, we tend to become like that as well. So gravitate towards people that feel like sunshine, those people that make you feel good, that point out the good in you, makes it easier to love yourself when you're able to be in that sort of positive sunshine, if I can put it that way. Be compassionate when things go wrong. You make mistakes, you make boo-boos, the paw hits the fan for various reasons. But be compassionate with yourself, learn to forgive yourself, And not to think that that means you're completely awful, that you're completely useless just because you failed that one test, or you forgot to do something you were meant to do. Sometimes we mustn't sweat the small stuff in life, especially while we're trying to survive a pandemic. Some things we just need to forgive ourselves for and realize it doesn't make us unlovable just because we've made a small mistake. We can always fix it. Make room for healthy habits. And I say make room for healthy habits because it's something you have to make room for. If you don't put energy into it and time into it and try to put healthy habits in place, they don't just come and fall into your lap. If it means that you need to show yourself some self-love by eating more healthily and keeping away from the junk food, if it means, needing to look after your health a little bit better by, taking those vitamins that, you were told are good to take because it helps boost your immune system, or your vitamin B is going to help you with stress or whatever it might be, make room for it. Plan for it and start to do it, because it's not just magically going to happen if you don't do that. Postpone your worries and negative thoughts. And I'm certainly not saying deny that you have worries. We all have worries. We all have negative thoughts, whether they are about our lives in general, about ourselves, about where we are right now, about where the world is right now. But try and put them aside. Say to yourself, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, but I don't want to worry about that. I'm focusing on the good things, and I'm focusing on my to-do list today. I'm focusing on my studies today. I will think about it tomorrow, because right now it makes no difference if I worry about it. I'm just going to sap myself of a lot of energy that could help me get through the day. And when we do that, we sometimes find that those worries and those negative thoughts actually go away, because we were worrying for nothing, if I can really say that. So don't deny them, but try to postpone them and buy yourself a little bit of time, and then you might find they go away anyway. And accept what you cannot love. None of us are perfect, and nobody that we know is perfect. Some people strive for it. Some people drive themselves crazy trying to reach that sort of perfection, but it doesn't exist. So accept what you cannot love. Accept what you cannot love about yourself. I'm a very easily stressed person. I take on a lot and I get very stressed, and it's something I've accepted about myself. I don't love it about myself. It's something I would like to work on. I would like to be more together and calm at different times and not to stress about things all the time. But I accept that's who I am, and I still know that I'm lovable, and I know that it's something that I can work on. Same thing, with people around me. There's certain things I don't love about them. But I still accept them for who they are, and I try to see the positives and find the things that I can love in them anyway. All right. So we're making good time, yeah, because we're on the halfway mark, really. And I'm going to move into the next theme for this morning, which is very much connected to self-love, because self-care is a way that we show ourselves that we love ourselves. So this is a double whammy, if I can put it that way, giving you some tips on how to try love yourself more, but giving you some tips as well as how to care for yourself more. And when you engage in more self-care, you will also find that you then are automatically finding ways to show yourself that you love yourself and that you're worthy, and therefore feel better about yourself as well. So it's all connected and it all impacts on each other. So self-care is the process of taking action to preserve or improve our own physical and emotional health. So self-care is more of a verb, if I can put it that way. There really is a lot of doing and taking action when it comes to self-care. It's the things that we can do to ensure that our physical health is well, so that we are well and healthy, but also that on the other hand, our emotional health is taken care of. It increases a person's self-worth and allows them to feel more resilient when stressful situations occur. So yeah, the more self-care we take, the more resilient we are, the more we can deal with the blows when life throws stress our way. And let's be honest, life throws it to us on a daily basis, just in different forms and different sizes. basically the things you do to support your well-being, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual well-being are all self-care. All right. And self-care is free. It doesn't come from a store. It's a gift you give yourself by being intentional with your time and energy. So, the thought of, self-care is something you go buy at a shop. Self-care is a shopping spree, showing yourself, that you care. And let me tell you that there's so much marketing out there to try convince us to buy things to show that we care for ourselves. You don't have to buy stuff to feel that you're taking care of yourselves. There are little things that you can do to ensure that, how you share your time and energy is showing care and engaging in self-care. All right, so now I'm going to read this to you because I know the font's not fantastic, but if you do have a pen, a pencil, a notebook, whatever close by, there's just 5 little questions in this quiz, else you can just answer them in your head. But let's see, what is your style of self-care? So the first one is, what makes you feel most energized? And I'm going to answer these and then share what my style is. But what makes you feel most energized? A quiet meditation, that's A. B is a walk in the woods. Not that we really have much woods around, but let's just change that to nature. And C is a conversation with a good friend. So for myself, I'm going to share that I would say it's a conversation with a good friend or a family member like my brother. That really helps me to feel energized. All right, so write down your answer or just think of your answer. Is it A, B, or C? Question 2, how would you like to spend a day off? Is it relaxing at the spa? I mean, if you're lucky enough to have some money to go for some sort of a treatment, and gentlemen certainly do that as well. That's not just a ladies thing. But would you like to go to a relaxing spa, maybe have a massage or a facial or something like that? Would it be chilling on the beach somewhere, or would it be socializing in a coffee shop? I don't have the luxury of having the beach, so I'm going to go with C. It would be socializing at a coffee shop, obviously making sure that I'm socially distancing and being safe as well. But my answer there is C. And then question 3, which would you most like to receive as a gift? Is it A, a good book and maybe something like some cozy socks for winter? Is it camping gear, which is B, or is it C, spending time with family is better than any gift? And I'm a little bit torn there because I like A and C. So I'm going to go with A. I like receiving a good book, to be able to sit and read a good book. All right, 4, what's your favorite workout? So you don't have to go to the gym, but what's your favorite workout? Would you do something like yoga and stretching? Would you rather, do something like ride a bike? Or would it be going to a fitness class where there's some people and there's music and there's obviously a lot of energy? Which one of those would you prefer? And for that one, because I'm not a fan of yoga, I'm going to go with C. I like to attend a fitness class. The last question, which scented candle would you burn in your home? Is it A, lavender? Is it B, cedar, which is a woody smell? It's a type of wood. Or is it C, hot buttered rum, which is an interesting one because I'm sure by here that they mean some rum is in alcohol, which would give a nice warm smell. So what would you like to smell in terms of a scented candle? What would you burn in your home? I'm going to go there with lavender, which is A. I think I quite like the smell of lavender. I find it very, very soothing. All right, so hopefully you've answered the questions yourself. Have you got mostly an A, mostly a B, mostly B's, or mostly C? Those of you that got mostly A's, how your style of self-care is relax and recharge. You are comfort and solitude helps you to feel rejuvenated. So set aside time to focus on yourself. whether you enjoy yoga and meditation or just indulging in a massage or a hot cup of tea. All right, so if you got mostly A's, you are somebody that recharges just by sort of spending a little bit of time alone and doing things more on your own. Mostly B's means you like to explore the outdoors. You feel the most free when you're in nature. You'd rather spend the day exploring a new trail, so that's if you were be able to hike, than you would be relaxing indoors. Find a park or other natural areas where you can enjoy fresh air and soak up some sun. And then C is connecting with others. Personal connections and good conversations feed your soul. The relationships you nurture with family and friends gives you energy. Make time for coffee and a chat. Set a weekly lunch date to reconnect. Okay, obviously, again, being safe there. But C's are mostly about connecting with others. And I think I answered sort of A's and C's, which is interesting. So I agree with that. I am the sort of person that does sometimes just enjoy a little bit of time on my own. I definitely do make a nice cup of ginger tea, and I like to read a good book and just sort of get away from people a little bit. But then there are times where I really need to connect with other people, and that helps to make me feel cared for and helps to rejuvenate me and to fill my cup. And then I will reach out probably to family members and try to spend some quality time with them. And that's quite important to me. So I definitely border on 2 styles there. So hope you're able to find yours. Sorry that this one isn't too clear. I liked the pictures and then I just couldn't find one that had the writing nice and clear for us. But there are different types of self-care. So, you know, you might engage in all of these, or there might be certain ones that you prefer. And one type of self-care is physical. The most important one there being sleep, making sure you get good sleep. Doing things like stretching. I know that sounds, silly, but it is so good for our bodies to do a bit of stretching, even if it is just 2 or 3 minutes of, really just stretching out your muscles. You don't have to go to yoga or what's the other one, Pilates, but just doing a little bit of stretching to get some oxygen flowing in your body and helping your body feel a little bit more supple and like it can move. Doing things like walking, looking for other physical releases. Maybe that's playing sports, or for myself, I certainly do enjoy going to the gym, looking at eating healthy food, getting rest, and then they mention something like yoga here. Your emotional self-care means looking at your stress management. So how do you look after yourself and how do you manage your stress? How do you manage your emotions as well? And then looking importantly at forgiveness, being compassionate and being kind. And I touched on that already, in the importance of loving ourselves even when we're not lovable. Then some of the social type of self-care that you can engage in, there's setting boundaries. So when you do feel somebody is taking advantage of you, having the ability to say no, having the ability to stand up for yourself when you need to, and setting boundaries with people to protect yourself. That can also be your support systems on a social level, positive social media. So yeah, comes social media again, but where you find you're getting caught up in too much negative social media and it's starting to impact on your health, your mental health in a negative way, rather leave it. Rather take a break from social media if you need to. Be careful of the type of news that you read, for an example. Be careful of the type of people that you follow on social media as well. Look at communicating, look at spending time together with people that are important. And as I said to you, feel like sunshine. They bring warmth and positivity in your life, and ask for help when you need it. Then there's spiritual self-care as well. That could be spending time alone. For those of you that do enjoy meditation, it's something I haven't got into yet. It's a challenge I have. But looking at things like meditation, yoga, looking at how do we connect with nature, looking at something like journaling perhaps as well, and also finding a sacred place, a sacred space where you find you feel very sort of energized and rejuvenated. Some people are lucky enough to have the beach to do that. For some, it might be just a space in the home. It could be a park. It could be a special tree they go sit under where they engage with nature. But any of those are types of self-care that you can engage in. Right, so keeping track of time. Is there anybody out there that's feeling brave? Anyone that would like to share a tip for self-care that they engage in? You know, how do you take care of yourself? And you can type that in Mentimeter, or you're welcome to type it in the comments. Anyone want to share one tip for us? No. Hamo and Tabo, anybody putting anything in the chat for us?
Oh yes. Answer from Caroline. I put up bed feeders and I wash them after a hard day.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Tabo, there's a echo on your side. We're struggling to hear you. I'll just read for you. Am I clear? Yes, we've got a couple of messages here.
Lovely.
Our first one is from Caroline. It says, I've put up a bird feeders, and I watch them after a hard day. I think that's a really, really good way.
Oh, that is lovely. That's a wonderful way to engage with nature. That's quite spiritual as well. So that's a lovely one. Thank you for that.
And she also said she goes to ride her horse or run my dogs.
Wonderful.
Caroline again.
Lovely.
Liseko says, I play with my 2 rabbits.
I love that. I have to share that the irony is that right here next to me is some of my self-care, and there's one of my rabbits. I don't know if you can see it.
So Liseko had said, meditation, hey, I struggle to concentrate. She's the one who plays with her 2 rabbits.
Oh, lovely.
I think that is connected to her trying to concentrate. So she'll go and play with the rabbits to help her to concentrate. I think that's about it.
Lovely. I love those ideas. I think it's just, again, like if you remember at the beginning, I said self-love, we show ourselves loving in different ways. It might be through positive self-talk for some of us. It might be about taking care of our health. It might be about, doing something that makes us feel good every day. And the same with self-care. Different things work, for different people. I mean, some of you might think, oh my goodness, hanging out with your rabbits or your dogs, that sounds like hard work. but that's something that feeds your soul and fills your cup. So then if it works for you, absolutely, it could be, whatever, dancing, listening to music, watching a good movie that, that just makes you feel great. It could be chatting to someone that always lifts your spirits. It could be journaling or writing poetry. We are all so different, and that's what makes us wonderful. And it's important that you find what your self-care is. And I want to put it in that way. What fills your cup? Because you can't fill anybody else's cup if your cup is empty. You have to fill your cup before you have any type of strength and energy to be there and be present for somebody else. So just keep it in that sort of way. In that frame of thought, what fills your cup? All right. And when you can answer that question for yourself, then you found the self-care tip or method that works for you, and keep expanding on that. Try different things. Maybe you weren't much of a reader, but try read a book with short chapters or individual stories or something. Try go for a walk. Try different things to see what makes you feel good and what makes you feel connected. And that will certainly help you. All right, so we've done this. What are your tips for self-care? How do you take care of yourself? So thank you very much for those lovely tips that were shared. Here are 8 quick ways that you can practice self-love and self-care every day. So you get to cover a little bit of both, like I said, yeah, with these 2. Practice gratitude. Maybe you have heard a lot about gratitude. I know it's been a hot topic since I think Oprah first mentioned it in terms of keeping a gratitude journal. But practice gratitude. Start every day just by saying 5 things that you are grateful for. And on the bad days, 5 might seem too much. Then just find 2 things that you're grateful for on that day. And that will really just help you to see the brighter things and the bigger picture and help to sort of fill your soul. Speak more loving words about yourself and towards yourself. So think about that. How do you talk about yourself to others? You know, I've got a 9-year-old son, and that's been such a learning for me sometimes, listening how I speak about myself. And when I say something like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, I can't forget, I can't believe I forgot I have that meeting tonight. Few days or minutes later, I hear him say something, you know, like, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't build this puzzle. He's learned that from me, and I'm already impacting how he sees himself. And I need to speak more loving words out loud about myself, you know, and not calling myself stupid and things like that, because I'm impacting him and how he sees himself, but also towards myself. So, you know, speaking compassion and speaking forgiveness to myself when I make mistakes, that little voice in my head being a little bit more positive than it normally is, where I use a lot of negative words to myself. And then exercise. And again, I'm not saying go join an expensive gym and go pick up weights and do whatever if that doesn't work for you. But we have to nurture our bodies as well. We have to make sure that in some way we are exercising, and that could just be going for a short walk. That could just be doing a few stretching exercises. It could be putting on a song that we really enjoy and just moving around and getting the blood and the oxygen flowing. We get a natural high from that, and we nurture our body. Try to get outdoors more. And I'm not saying go run around a mall. We know that's not safe right now. I'm saying go to your bird feeder, or go sit somewhere where you can see a tree or see some flowers, or just get in some fresh air and see the world around you. Especially right now, we're all feeling quite claustrophobic with isolating at home. When can you get outdoors a little bit and do something outdoors that can help nourish your soul? Put down your electronics and unplug for an hour every day. That's hard. I know many of us are studying and working remotely, and that's how we're connecting with people. But you do need to block that and take that out of your day for at least an hour. Because it just is very healthy to do, and it allows natural thoughts to flow. It might, help you to be more creative. It might give you some time to focus on some of the other things that you need to do, like a little bit of exercise and self-care. Spend time alone. I'm not saying isolate yourself completely from other people, but there are times that we just need to be alone for a little bit to gather our thoughts and, just to step away from everyday life and the hustle and bustle. And it could be, spending time building a puzzle, again, reading a book, something like that. Drink more water, going back to the physical nourishment and physical self-care again. It's a challenge for me. I'm very bad at drinking water. While I've been speaking to you, I've had the thought, oh, Carol, again, no water here. Where's your water? I always forget water, but it is so important to keep our body hydrated. See, now I'm even losing my voice because I don't have water. And develop a self-care plan. And we do have enough time, so I think my next video or my next slide is a video where I want to just share with you another person's thoughts on some self-care plans that you can put together, and I hope that will give you some thoughts on other things that you can practice and put into place. So I am sorry I couldn't get the video to play. Harmon Tabu, I don't know if you can quickly get it to play your side.
Sure, I'll try.
Thank you. Also, I do have the link I can just click onto.
Just to add on that, while we're waiting for the video to play, guys, we really appreciate your answers on the chat function. You know, we're having an error with Menti poll.
Okay.
Please keep your answers coming on the chat function.
Thank you, Tabo.
You.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to get the audio to...
No problem. I'm reading some of the comments so long, so thank you. Oh, coloring in, it's lovely.
Tabo, can you try on your side? My speakers need setting up on this end.
I can also quickly try with my link if you like.
Yes, I think let's try that.
No problem. Okay. Just give me a quick second. I've got the other presentation with the link open. Apologies, everyone. This is where we have to practice forgiveness and self-care when we realize technology is not always on our side. Sorry, I have not put my audio on. Let me do that again.
Hey there, let's talk about self-care.
Okay, just checking, can you hear that?
Yes, we can hear.
Lovely.
Yes,
okay.
We can hear loud and clear.
Thank you.
Now, Parks and Rec, of course, is pretty great, but self-care is more than just treating yourself. Self-care is not a reward, though sometimes that can be part of it. It's a vital piece of the ongoing process of being a human. To quote the self-help classic, Codependent No More, self-care is an attitude that says, I am responsible for myself. In other words, I am my responsibility, and I will honor that responsibility as I would anything else that was precious to me. So let's make an action plan for using self-care to make our lives more awesome. Step 1. Recognize that it is indeed okay to take care of yourself. Nay, it is not just okay, it is smart. As Lifehacker puts it, self-care helps prevent burnout, reduces the negative psychological and physical effects of stress, and helps you refocus on what's true and important. Like, there's an entire peer-reviewed international journal on burnout. This is like a real big difficult problem to solve. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but it actually makes you more productive, not less, to set time aside for yourself. And regardless of your productivity levels, recognize that you are a human being, and that is enough to warrant compassion and kindness. For real. Step 2, ideally before the need strikes, research outwardly and inwardly what self-care means and what works for you. There are self-care actions that can help pretty much everyone: getting proper nutrition, some exercise, enough sleep, hydrating, and taking small breaks throughout the workday. I like to go for walks, and I like to be forced to do it by my friends or family or baby. We have a link to a list of almost 50 self-care actions down in the doobly-doo. But everyone is unique, so it's important to ask what actions make me feel better. Journaling, texting something nice to a friend, like watching videos of pug puppies, doing a bunch of push-ups, pillow fights, putting some projects on the back burner maybe. I personally am all in for the baby cuddles. I have a baby now, and I feel like I'm doing a thing that I was designed for and that I need to be doing and that I also just really like. Sometimes he's angry though and he yells at me, but most of the time I get cuddles. Now, one possible self-care action from us to you, start a digital warm and fuzzy file and fill it with compliments or kind words you've received, good memories and favorite photos. Like, I have to admit, I get lots of people saying nice things about me on the internet, and that helps get me through the day. Being able to look through this file when you're feeling down might go a long way to bringing you back up. You want this list to be both ample and flexible, and you may even want to break it into different categories. For instance, T. Michael Martin, the fellow who wrote this script, by the way, has a spreadsheet of self-care actions organized by types of negative experiences. After all, the self-care you need while you're depressed may not be the same self-care that helps when you're overwhelmed with work. Also, if other people are involved in these self-care actions, it's totally cool to let them know now that they are part of your action plan. They may not always be available, but odds are if they're a good friend, they're going to do their best to do their part. Step 3, self-care powers activate. It's best if you can recognize the warning signs that you could use some self-care before things go into the red zone. For me, by the way, it's when I notice my fingers going to websites that I didn't intend on going to. Like just typing in reddit.com when I have a ton of work to do is a sign that I should go for maybe a little walk to recharge the batteries. If you're keeping a journal, you might notice a pattern or two in your behavior. Perhaps you'll notice a bleaker mood than normal or disturbed sleep. Either way, once the need becomes apparent, consult your list and follow through. And that is all that we have for you today. But if you have any self-care tips, please let us and other people who are looking know down in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. In the meantime, take care of yourself, your friends, and your neighbors. It's the adult thing to do.
All right. Right, just checking everybody's still there. Haven't lost or been kicked out.
Everybody's still here, Carol.
Thank you, Hamu. Thanks.
Yeah.
That American chat, he spoke very quickly, which I know sometimes I do as well, and I'm not American. But I liked his energy, and I liked that he sort of summarized quite a few of the things I've spoken about today, right from looking at, hydrating, going for a walk, keeping a list of positive things, chatting to people, reaching out when you need to. And did you notice he also spoke about social media and how he looks on the internet when people have said nice things about him and it makes him feel good. So that to me was quite interesting as well, and goes to back to what I'm saying about how social media impacts on our sense of self-love and self-worth as well. So yeah, hopefully there's some tips that you've seen there, or something that somebody has even shared today that will be, something you could try. And he also said, remember that sometimes what works for you, when you're feeling stressed with work and studies and that sort of thing, may not necessarily work in other areas. So find the different things that work in different scenarios for yourself when you do need to fill that cup. And this is something I love. I'm actually going through a coaching process at the moment. I'm quite fortunate to be doing that, and it's quite a lot of hard work. But one of the things my coach has been working on with me is the concept of accepting that, or believing even, that I am enough. I don't need to be perfect. I can make mistakes. I am only human. I don't have to keep trying to be somebody I'm not, because I am enough. And she actually told me I must write this on a Post-it and stick it in front of me. And it's been a week and I haven't done that. But when I was putting these slides together, this jumped out at me and I was like, oh my goodness, here's the message to me again. I am enough. And I wanted to share that with you. And I want you to keep that in mind when you may be going through a difficult time, or somebody makes you feel like you're not worthy, that you are enough. All right, so try that as a positive self-affirmation. It really is lovely and it works. As I promised, literally 12 on the dot now, some helpful resources. There are resources out there for you. Please don't feel like you can't ever reach out. If you do need a bit of extra support or you are struggling, there are organizations such as Lifeline. There's the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, which is known as SADAC. You possibly have a minister or a pastor you could reach out to. There is gender violence support groups out there as well, substance abuse support lines and groups you can reach out to. These days, so many different support groups are offered online that a person can log on to and engage with. And of course, if it's anything around any issues with COVID, there is a COVID support line available as well. So, so please just keep in mind that there are resources out there and to reach out when you really need it, because it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to reach out for a little bit of extra support when you do need it. And to finish off, something positive, your greatest responsibility is to love yourself and to know that you are enough. Okay, there's a last Menti. Sorry, I know, Thabo, you said there's a bit of a trouble with the Mentimeter link. So I'm not sure if individuals are able to do this one, but please do feel free in the chat group just to comment there if you found the session helpful. If it was useless, if it was extremely helpful, any comments there also helps us to know perhaps what to cover in other sessions. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for your time, for listening to me, and for your engagement and some of the tips as well that were shared with us today. And
thank you very much, Carol. It was definitely a great session today. I see a lot of compliments. People are happy. You're reminding them of loving themselves. Somebody was. Are there any free psychologists I can contact? Not support groups. That's more like a question. Is there any psychologists you can contact that you can recommend?
Sure. Thank you very much, and Neo, thank you for reaching out. If you are worried about that, definitely please do reach out to a psychologist or a counselor. I'm going to recommend you contact SADAC. They are, and sorry, the number was there in my slide. I don't know it off by heart. I can quickly paste it for you if you didn't catch it. But when you call SADAC, it's a 24-hour line. You're immediately speaking to a counselor that can support you, and they can also connect you with long-term treatment, through counseling if you need that. So please, you can either Google them, they have an email and a WhatsApp, or you can call them 24 hours a day, and somebody is always there to answer and to support you. And yes, somebody also said Lifeline. Thank you, Caroline. Yes, Lifeline can also assist, and Lifeline is an NGO. There's a lot of social workers that work for Lifeline, and they offer very similar service as well. So please reach out to one of those two resources. All right.
Oh, thank you, Karen. That was very helpful. Just to remind you again, the SADC number is 0800 456 789. That's 0800 456 789. And then Lifeline number is 0861 322 322. So it's 0861 322 322. I'll drop the contact numbers also on the chat function, so people can have it. And just a reminder again that the session notes and the video will be emailed to everyone. If you don't receive the email, please send your email to thabo@aoy.co.za. Let me see if there's any questions. There's a number of comments. I seen Tabi saying here, she says this was helpful. I was dealing with some issues, but I've learned that I'm enough as I am. That's very nice to hear. Let me see again. Any questions? Please drop your questions on the chat function. We 5 minutes over time, but yeah, we don't mind taking 2 or 3 questions. See a lot of compliments instead. And I think your session was very informative. You know, not a lot of people have got questions, Karen.
No problem. As long as everybody can take something from today, and I see I am enough has resonated with some people. So I'm so pleased that I shared that message, and I agree. You are enough. We are enough.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
It was a great session. We really appreciate it. You know, from the Academy of York team, and also I'm speaking on behalf of the participants as well. You know, yeah, we really appreciate it. It was very informative. You know, I think a very big thank you to Hamu as well. You know, for assisting. Yeah. Just to close it off, you know, we're having another Wisdom Wednesday webinar session on the 10th of March. The topic is accountability. Our guest speaker is going to be Val and Lerato. And then on the 22nd of February, we're having another open day, virtual open day. You know, we'll be sending all the details to everyone. You know, thank you. It's been a great session.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.